Creepers and Kickers Chris, the Atari Creep. How is everyone doing today, guys? This is a video that is long overdue. In fact, I believe it was requested like 5 years ago. I buried on Mars. And I just kept avoiding it to the point where I was like, there's no point in making it. So I think we're in one of those situations where I've been wearing the same clothes for so long, it's back in style. So why not? For those of you who are just getting into collecting, more information, the better. But more so what sparked the videos, this morning I woke up to a really fun collaboration video hosted by Tom and Laci, the coolest couple on the internets. Do you, nerd? And they wanted us to show them our kits, our cleaning kits. What do we use when we go to these dirty flea markets and we go to these dirty garage sales? But I didn't see a lot of things that I personally felt were critical and crucial. And maybe that's because one, either they don't use these things, or two, they just didn't have time in their little collaboration snippet. Because a video can only be so long, right? So I said, you know what, it's about time, Chris, get off your ass and show these people what you personally use. Mainly because the more information, the better for anyone who's fairly new to this or wants to get into this here in the future. So I will put a link to their video down in the description below, but I will also put it at the end annotations of this video in the bottom corner. That way, in 10 years from now, if you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about, you can just click on it without having to search for it. So with all that said, let me get into my cleaning kit. Coffee. You need coffee. If you don't have coffee, I don't know what the hell you're doing with your life. But right here, this is your essential cleaning kit right here. It's important to have the right tools to go into the job. Q-tips, everyone uses Q-tips. A tool to open up your games. There are specific screws, security screws on games. There are 3 different style of game bit tips. I only have the one here just for a simple example. Genesis has one that's separate from the NES, and the Super NES in a lot of cases have it separate from the regular NES. Now some NES cartridges use a standard Phillips head. So in more cases than not, you can actually buy a large screwdriver kit. And when I say large, I mean a handle that has a ton of little bits. That'll have all those security bits in it. You can get them all day long on Amazon and eBay fairly cheap. And you'll also notice there's something missing here. What is missing here? That almost every collector talks about when cleaning cartridges. Isopropyl alcohol. It's not on my table for 2 very specific reasons. One, I'm all out. I don't have any. And because I wanted to make this video before everyone got home, I didn't run out and grab any. You know what isopropyl alcohol is, okay? There are different kinds of isopropyl alcohol, and that's why I don't have it on my table. The second reason is I don't recommend it to anybody. Because depending on what kind you get or where you even live, that isopropyl alcohol may have glycerin. In some countries, they actually put castor oil in theirs. All right, the whole point of isopropyl alcohol is it's a great cleaning solvent that evaporates. You don't want moisture on your electrical components when in use. Electrical components can get wet as long as they're dried properly. It's when they're still wet and you use them, that's when you have problems. The moisture starts to create electrical bridges that you don't want, that'll fry things. But more important here, glycerin or any kinds of oils will remain behind. That'll get onto the contacts of your game cartridge and inside your machine, and that will actually collect more dirt and dust than by not using alcohol whatsoever. So if you're going to use alcohol, and I use it too, sometimes I use Windex and I make sure I clean things properly, and then I dry them off properly, more importantly. Just know what kind you're using. And if it's got glycerin in it, you just got to really make sure you use a dry Q-tip and really get it off of your pin connectors. It may work today and it may work tomorrow, but 2 weeks down the road, you'll be like, damn it, my game won't work again. And that's exactly why. So if isopropyl alcohol is not my go-to, what do I use to clean my pin contacts? I use your standard eraser and 1000 grit gold paper. This you have to use very loosely. This is for extreme situations, but this is light enough to where it's not going to hurt anything as long as you don't apply too much pressure and you use it sparingly. This right here is my go-to almost every time. time, especially if I can open up the cartridge. If you can't open up the cartridge, then you have to get a little bit creative, and we'll talk about that here in a second, and that's where the Q-tips and alcohol will come in. But more times than not, I'm opening up the cartridge and I am using a pink eraser. Now mind you, this isn't the one I actually use, this is the girls. It was just more handy for me to get this literally right here on the table from when they were doing homework this weekend. But let me give you my philosophy and my theory why I would prefer to use this over these. So when we were kids and we had our NES cartridges or the like, and the game stopped working properly, well, in most cases with the NES it was because of the poor design of the cartridge intake. But in most cases here, as far as the cartridge is concerned, it's because there's carbon buildup right here. This is the business end of a game cartridge if you've never seen one before. Okay, this is what we're trying to clean with the Q-tips and the alcohols and all the good stuffs. These make contact with the pins inside the machine, and between the two there's electricity being transferred back and forth. And over time, that electricity will create a black carbon scoring on top of these very delicate connection pins. Back when I worked in corrections, we had a problem with our radios not transmitting across the prison yard. And we found out later on that it was because of the exact same thing that's going on here. There was carbon buildup within the antenna connections. So we would take them apart and we would clean them up and put them back together, and they would work flawlessly for about a month or two, and then we'd have to continue doing that. Now going back to when we were kids, we would just blow on the cartridges when we didn't realize that it was the actual pins themselves. It wasn't dust and it wasn't dirt getting in there. It was actual carbon buildup. Going back to my friend the trusty pencil eraser, what is a pencil eraser? It's made to clean carbon, or graphite in this case, from a very delicate surface. So whenever I have a cartridge that's real stubborn, I will just take it and I will gently go across it over and over. Every now and again I'll do it this way, but most times if you go like this, and you will see the cartridge connections actually shine up. It's almost like it buffs it, but it literally erases all that carbon scoring that's on both sides of the pins. That will take care of any cartridge problems you have. If you have some that have corrosion as well, that's where this will come in. And you got to be very, very gentle with it. A very light touch. This is something that you have to get a feel for, whereas that's a lot more forgiving. But that's why I would prefer to go with these over any kind of, first of all, liquid cleaner. And as long as you brush off the remaining bits of the eraser, again, 9 times out of 10, you pop this into your machine and it will work. Here is another abso-motherfucking-lutely essential. Some kind of wiping system that's impregnated with a cleaning agent. A lot of people use baby wipes. Linda, aka the Gamer Girl, mentioned that she liked to use baby wipes. I used baby wipes for years until I stumbled upon these disinfectant wipes. Now, whether you're a Clorox or a Lysol kind of person, that's neither here nor there. They both do the exact same thing. And as long as you don't get the kind that's abrasive, you just get the kind that's literally just a wipe with some disinfectant solution on it, you're good to go. This is for the outside of your cartridges and the outside of your consoles, except for the shell. If you open up your console, of course, you can use this for the inside. But this is your best bet against cleaning and germs that you're going to find on all these nasty things that have been sitting in the basement or the attic for decades after little Johnny has spilt his juice box on it and got his grubby little mitts all over it. And that shit's been festering on these things for years and years and years. God knows what the hell's on those things. This right here is defense numero uno. In fact, a lot of times before I even break out the other stuff, this is the first thing I break out. I'll wipe everything down real quick before I have to work on it, and then we'll proceed. Next extremely valuable tool that I didn't see anyone talking about, again, maybe because of time restraints, I don't know, but bristle tools. I got a couple of different toothbrushes that I keep aside for different applications. More so than not, I'm using this on an NES cart on the ridgers, getting into those little corners and such. Sometimes you'll have a cart that's just dusty and dirty. That way, a quick wipe with this and a little bit of this will clean up just fine. And it has a great label, so you don't really want to introduce too much moisture. Use this to get into like the little fine details. I have this larger one here for consoles and such, and I've used this on cartridges as well. Matter of fact, last night I used this on a Matchbox Haunted House playset I just picked up that I'll be reviewing here shortly on the Haunted House Playset YouTube channel. That link should be somewhere around the world here. If not, look it up. It's pretty cool. But long story short, this is really great for just these things. Again, have been in an attic collecting dust or in the basement getting dirty. A lot of times this and this will be your first defense against anything. And I can't tell you how many times just using a bristle tool and a Lysol wipe has brought new life to anything that I've picked up, be it a toy or a gaming console or the cartridges themselves. Next tool, the Magic Eraser. This is a Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. This is basically a cheap sponge that will fall apart pretty quickly as you use it. That's impregnated with a very mild solvent, but it's also, it's an abrasive. It's a sanding sponge essentially, 8,000 to 12,000 grit, I can't remember. So keep that in mind when using this. If you're trying to use this on your Genesis, you're going to dull that section. It's going to apply a dull spot. So if you're not into buffing out things, I would use this very sparingly. But every now and again, little Jimmy puts his name on a cartridge and you just can't get it off with solvents alone. So after letting them soak in solvents, the Magic Eraser comes in and performs miracles. But I would use these sparingly, again, because it is an abrasive and it can alter the look of the surface of what you're trying to clean. Goo Gone. You have to have some Goo Gone. In fact, I find this so important. You'll notice this is the only actual liquid I'm presenting in this video, aside from what's in the Clorox wipes, but you do have to wring those out before you use them. Again, adding any unnecessary moisture to your labels and or electrical components without drying it off properly can cause more harm than good. But Goo Gone is essential for stickers and the like. Maybe there's residue from something. Maybe someone had gum on there and that gum's been on there for, again, who knows how long. Man, it's a wonder none of us have been diagnosed with any kind of new weirdo diseases from cleaning these things. But Goo Gone is an essential member of your toolbox. And if you don't want to use Goo Gone, get yourself an orange or a lemon and use the juice from that. That's basically what this is. It's a citrus acid with some oily substance on it. And that's another thing you need to consider. Don't spray the hell out of something. Put just enough. Rub it into where, the sticker thing is and let it sit for a while. And then remember that it's going to be an oily film and you have to clean it off properly afterwards. But Goo Gone has saved my ass more times than I can even imagine. Last, before we close out, there's one item here, I can't find mine, but a microfiber cloth is essential. Some of the stuff you can get away without having, and that's fine. It looks like a lot of stuff, but if you think about it, you go to the dentist, you're always getting these, okay? A paintbrush doesn't cost much. All these cleaning things are at your local grocery store. You should have a lot of it already anyhow, especially if you have children. Clorox or Lysol wipes, again, they're staple essentials. But a microfiber cloth is really good for, again, surface cleaning, getting rid of dust and stuff like that. Also, when you're cleaning the contacts of your game cartridges with an eraser, it's going to leave behind some eraser material, and that's where the microfiber cloth comes in. Well, you need to be careful though, because there is a slight static charge to that. Don't touch too many components with it, because you very well could possibly fry out your game. It sucks that I'm telling you to use one of those, and if you don't feel comfortable with it and you just want to use, say, the brush to remove all of the material from the eraser, I say go with that. But a microfiber cloth is really great for the outside of any console or game cartridge if dust is just your issue. Last, you need to reward yourself. In this case, we're going to have some chorizo and eggs on a potato bun. Not in a burrito. I didn't feel like having a burrito this weekend. So guys, I hope you learned something from this. I hope a lot of this is actually old news to you. This is stuff that you're already using. But if you did learn something from this, I really do. I'm glad to pass some information on. And if there's something that I may not have mentioned that I don't know about, tell me down in the comments below. Last, I'd like to thank Do You Nerd Tom and Laci for a fantastic video. It's great that these old topics keep revolving and coming back after every so often. It keeps things a little bit fresh. It keeps the information current. These are important information, though there's a bajillion videos on how to do all this, from large YouTubers, small YouTubers, medium YouTubers, But it's great to have this information out there. And the more information that's out there, you can find the common threads and narrow it down to what you think is realistic and what you think is where you should be when doing anything. Because let's face it, the internet never lies, right? So guys, thanks as always so much for watching. I do genuinely appreciate each and every one of you. The channel's been growing considerably the last 6 months to a year. And I'm blown away. I'm outstanding. And we're on that road to 1K. I don't really care about the sub thing, but we're close to 1,000 subscriptions. If we can make that by New Year's. I know I said that last year as a joke, but come on, is that like, what, 500, 600 subs? But I don't think it's unrealistic at this point. That would be great if I could do it by New Year. But either way, guys, go ahead and leave your feedback. Thumbs up, thumbs down. All feedback to the Creep is positive. Until next time, guys, take care. Creep it real. Oh, if you follow me on Instagram and you're excited about another Sunday night stream tonight, it is not happening. I will make it up tomorrow on Monday the 5th. There's a Pats game on, and whenever the Pats are playing, if it's during that time period, sorry guys, they gotta take front seat. But I will be back Monday, and we'll do the live stream then, should you want to come. And if not, it'll always come here the next day. So yeah, guys, thank you always so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Take care, creep it real, and bye-bye.